Welcome back to the channel. As I just received both of my Triumphs back from its respective first service, let's take a look at both bikes and see what I have done to them in its final stages and what their purpose is going forward in my garage and in daily use. Let's start with the Moto 2. And starting from the front, you can see here there used to be a orange reflector with a bracket next to the Brembo brake caliper that just looked out of place, and I just deleted that and removed it. You can also see a frame slider here that I put on for just a little bit extra protection, just in case. Moving on, I replaced the aluminum heel slider with a carbon fiber one. I got this one from a company in Canada. Took a couple weeks to get here, but very good quality, and I was able to match the carbon fiber exactly to the one that's already on the bike. The centerpiece of the bike, obviously at this point, is its full titanium race fit exhaust, which I am totally in love with. It has started to break in, as you can see here, the blue coloring inside the baffle, very nice, as well as on the connection point there from the header. It's just amazing looking, and it has really, for me at least personally, woken up the bike. In the back you see the little tail tab I have from Evotech, and then coming to the other side here, once again, the connection to the header from the race fit, once again, very nicely colored in. Just very, very lovely. Up front in the cockpit, I actually installed cruise control. And you might be wondering what I'm doing with cruise control on a sport bike or race bike. And quite honestly, it is a very nice quality of life improvement for these short stints on the highway where I don't have to be constantly on throttle. It's something that I pondered for a long time, but I finally broke down and did it, and so yeah, it's actually very, very nice. Initially, the bike was destined for my living room as a showpiece, but quite honest, as I mentioned before, with the new exhaust, the bike is totally transformed for me. And it is just that much more lively and playful now, to a point where I really enjoy riding it, versus before with the stock exhaust, where it was kind of like, it was okay, but it, didn't really rock my world. That said, I am kind of torn between, do I want to take it to the track and possible risk laying it down, or just keep it in its beautiful condition, since it is a special edition bike, and especially since I have the XSR 900 now, that apparently, from what I've seen, can also be used as a decent track bike. In any case, the other thing that I still did here, what you see is the radiator guard from Evotech, and then you see here my new header. That is a header, stock header from Triumph from the 22-23 model that was required to make the race fit exhaust work. But other than that, this is it for this bike. Nothing else will be done to it, as it presents the final form for me. Let's move on to the amazing Triumph Scrambler 1200 and take a look what I did here. Up front, just like with the Moto 2, I removed the orange reflector along with its corresponding bracket for a more clean look. Next up is a guard for the headlamp. While I love the way it looks, it is an absolute nightmare to clean, so I'm not 100% sure yet if I want to keep this or not, but I sure do love the way it looks and obviously like the added protection. Up next is my little windscreen up top. Its sole purpose is to protect the dash hardware and the dash itself from bugs, dirts, grimes and whatnot. It looks decent and definitely does get the job done in protecting the dash. Moving on, the dresser bars, like Triumph calls them, are basically just basic crash bars. I had the shop install them during the first service. Looks easy to install, but you actually have to loosen up bolts that are sitting behind the exhaust, and you have to take the left exhaust off, the header off, and I didn't want to mess with it, so I just had to shop to it. The centerpiece of this bike, just like the Moto 2 obviously, it's the exhaust. In this case, it's the Zart aftermarket exhaust. It is probably one of the best mods you can do for this bike. Just listen to my pure sound video for the Scrambler, and I'm sure you will agree with me that that sound with that engine is just absolutely amazing. And obviously it looks good as well, and also saved quite a bit of weight. Moving on to the bottom here, you see my little red bobbins or sliders. That is basically just there if I want to put it on my stand for easier chain maintenance. Coming around, the tail tidy here is actually the factory one, and I looked at the options, but for some reason I'm actually okay on this one with the factory tail tidy. Usually I don't like them, but in this case it's actually not that bad looking, so I'll just keep it as it is for now. Next on the left side here, that is the factory penny option, soft penny option, and the reason I like this one so much is I can really easily take this one on and off, and even with the bracket in place the bike still looks great, and with it on it is still very easy to get on the bike, and there's also lots of space there, so really just what I was looking for short and medium trips concerning storage. Next up are my handlebar mirrors. These are actually stolen from my previous Triumph Trident, and the only downside with these is that you will not be able to fit the original OEM Triumph handguards on here with the handlebar mirrors in place. It is an either or, and I opted for now for the mirrors, as I did not like the stock mirrors at all. Obviously, like on all my bikes where I replaced the stock mirrors, I'm using these little red plugs here from TST Industries. They have served me well. They started to fade a little bit color-wise over time, but overall, visually very aesthetically pleasing. Then, what I did here on the last service as well is I put the heated grips on, as this bike will be utilized during the winter time, and for me, heated grips are an absolute must in that regard. You got 3 levels of heat. I tested it out so far and it seems to be sufficient, but I will definitely have the chance in the coming months to thoroughly test these out and see how good they actually are. But that is actually it. This is right now, just like the Moto 2, the Scrambler in its final stages for now. I got everything on here that I wanted to have on here, and we will see how it does down the road. But for now, like I mentioned before, this is my go-to bike for most of my short and medium trips. For the long-range trips, that will be my Moto Guzzi, but I haven't had the chance to get it into service, so that will hopefully coming up soon. Until next time, keep it on too, be safe out there, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.